Good morning.
Tim Karras, Family First Council Coordinator. Craig Swenson, Executive Director of Geauga County Job and Family Services.
We're here for item number 13. The Department of Job and Family Services requesting the board acknowledge that the Family First Council Mutual Funding Agreement, which includes Job and Family Services, Mental Health Recovery Services Board, Board of Developmental Disabilities, and the commissioners will not be collecting funding for the period January 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2025. That's the second half of our fiscal year 2025 due to a temporary surplus in council funding from lack of youth and residential treatment.
Doesn't happen every day. So
Doesn't happen very often. When I first started here in 2020, I was actually, when I looked at my staff going, I'm going to be the first guy. They just hired me and we're going to go into a deficit. We are in a period where Geauga is an anomaly. The rest of the state is seeing a bed day shortage. Every other county has seen an increase in residential treatment. Craig and I have been talking a lot about that because, I just think there's something going on in Geauga, and I don't necessarily think it's because we are that much more effective in helping our families. But we also want to be good stewards of the dollars. So it makes no sense to collect when we have a cash balance where we can help the families, even if we had 2 or 3 significant requests for funding.
Yeah, this is the first time in my 10 years that we've, Geauga County JFS, we are the fiscal agent of Family First Council. This is the first time in 10 years that this has ever happened. But as this board is well aware, whether it's come to our levy or whether in this situation, we're not going to ask for funding if we don't need it. That's the way things should be done.
right.
And so with that being said, we, as the fiscal team for Family First, we sat down and said, all right, well, we have this cash carryover. And so, we want to make sure that when we do come to the board and are asking for funding, that we can back it up and say that we need it, and we're very grateful. And as you guys know, that's the way that it's been. But here we are saying it, and I guess it's a good problem to have, to be able to say that at this point we don't need it, and we want to say thank you so much for your generous contributions to council and to the community. But right now we can handle it with what we have, so that when we do come and we ask for it, that you guys know that we need it. So Tim's done a phenomenal job, and his team's done a phenomenal job. We are scratching our heads. His office is right next to mine, and we are trying to philosophize over what's going on in the county and why we are not getting as many referrals as we are used to. I mean, I've gone back 10 years over my tenure to look at why are we not getting as many phone calls. It is odd, it's strange, it's kind of scary when you're like, well, okay, what's going on out there? Is there going to be a windfall, or what's happening? I'm having some people do some research to look into, making sure that we're talking to the schools and what have you, because especially coming out of COVID, we thought that we were going to get a plethora of referrals because people weren't seeing each other, and they were doing counseling over Zoom or whatever. And we thought that once everything was back live in person, that we'd have the floodgates of calls would come in, but we really did not see that.
And that's what the rest of the state has seen.
So
Significant increases in both families where custody has been relinquished to children's services in the different counties, increases to Ohio Rise bed days, increases to Family First bed days. So
you have a lot of counties that you have kids that are sleeping in their JFS buildings. That is actually a reality. Cuyahoga, and I know a number of other, I have people in their lobbies. Kids are sleeping in their lobbies, and thank God we didn't walk past a bunch of kids this morning into the building and sleep in their lobby. But it's happening, and thankfully it's again not happening here. But Tim and I, in our kind of ways, we just ask the questions like, why are we different? are we missing something or are we just blessed?
Yeah.
So we'll keep our ears to the ground and keep looking at it. But with that being said, we, are gonna just ask the board to keep us in mind next time we come around, but we do not need to collect this time.
Make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Spillier.
Right?
Commissioner Brinkley.
Aye.
Commissioner DeWort.
Yes.
You get to escape now. They'll beat me up.
Thank you, everybody.
I am not dismissed. Do I have to reintroduce myself?
Craig.
Yeah, I'm so mean.
Correct.
I didn't change personalities or anything like that.
Item 14,
Yes.
take it away.
Good morning. Thank you so much. I am here very grateful to discuss the options regarding the location of the new Geauga County Youth Center. As you guys know, and the Maple Leafs did a great job in the paper, in the article, in the paper. But I had individual discussions with each and every one of you regarding the prospective locations of the youth center. Very grateful for your time in those discussions. It seemed like at that point in time, we did come to kind of a meeting of the minds as to the best location, but I just wanted to, I don't know if the board wanted to kind of talk through publicly the different options that we had for the youth center. I made sure I sent to Christy the attached documents that I had shown you with respect to the youth center. And very excited to get this project continuing to move forward. Do you want me to talk
Just
through
briefly.
okay.
Yeah.
The first option, as you guys are well aware, and at a certain point, I thought it was really kind of the only option, was on the existing property where the current youth center is, but down the ravine. We were looking down the ravine, and there were some concerns with that option because there were two neighboring residential homes that were in proximity that could have observed this property. There were also some expenses with moving a lot of dirt that needed to be moved to make this lot fit, plus a long drive that would have to go into it. That particular site was, just to get the site ready, was looking to be over $1 million just to even get the site itself ready, plus the concerns with the neighbors. And I know I spoke with the neighbors, I believe Commissioner
did.
DeWort, you as well.
And then I sit on the committee with Craig and received a letter from Clarendon Township,
That is correct.
representing those two families that would live
I
very
think
close.
that went to all the commissioners.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was one option. Yes, that is commissioner owned property. It was an option. But as with any project, you have concerns, issues, things you have to weigh. So with Commissioner Dvorak on the committee that we've been meeting, we then looked kind of across the street on Aquila Road next to the current county home. With that site, again, we had then designed, draw up some plans for that site. There are no trees, so the good thing with that project that there was not going to be significant tree removal. However, due to kind of the existing grade of that property and where the building would have to be placed, it would have to be, again, fairly far set back to get to somewhat flat land. Also have to be a lot of kind of dirt removal, grading, long drive down to get to that property. And that property also with getting utilities and stuff there, just for the site preparation, was also in the neighborhood, if not exceeding $1 million as well, just to get the land ready, the property ready.
I thought that one was less expensive. That's not correct. Okay.
Just because there was concerns in getting sewer extension, I think, electric to that property. There were very similar costs with site preparation for that one across the, not across the street from here, but across the street.
Right,
from
right.
the-
I thought that one was slightly less. I thought
Maybe,
that was
maybe
like-
slightly,
I
but it
thought that was
was,
like an 800-ish versus a million-ish.
did not, but the 800 did not include getting utilities. too.
Okay, okay.
Sorry. And then the last site that we discussed was across the street, not necessarily across the street from here, but across the street from the current library on Ravenwood Drive. I know the commissioners own, I believe, 4 parcels along Ravenwood Drive that are going due, would that be due east? Due east of the hospital. Going to, yeah, and this would be the 3rd parcel across, like I guess, said, across from what would also be Merritt, and then also towards Aquila. That property came at a significant discount, or fairly significant discount, looking at about 400,000 to 500,000 plus some getting utilities there, but about $500,000 less cost to do that site there. Again, we just with each individually, one of you guys discussed that option. Seemed to be the most cost effective. Also, no tree removal. Utilities are fairly nothing's easy, but available to that site.
Very accessible.
And it seemed, again, with your expertise, Commissioner Dvorak, just with having been in those discussions, you've heard everything that everyone's had to say, the experts. I'm just a layperson listening to all the knowledge that you guys have, but it seemed like that appeared to be the best option from our discussions. And with that being said, I wanted to have an open discussion and then get your guys' blessing to move forward with that site if you guys so agree.
Yeah, it's basically across the street from the library administration building,
Yes, sir.
and it's the most economical and the most level land, and no trees are removed, and utilities very accessible. So that's why I like it.
So the lot that's at Aquila and Ravenwood, that's not an option?
It has a big gully down the middle of it. That's fine. That lot-
Yeah.
The very, very, very
Yeah,
corner.
yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry, the grade on that, it's a pretty significant hill. It's not something that it would be enabled this type of construction to exist
Okay.
on.
And there's kind of a drainage ditch on an angle going through that last property.
Okay.
We did, but Commissioner, to your question, we did look at it.
Okay.
I don't want you to think that we didn't even
Yeah, well, that's what I was.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I just want to, again, thank you guys for your openness, your time and consideration. As you guys know, this is a huge, important project for the county and for our kids and for JFS and just for the community. And it's been a long time coming, and we've had so many gyrations through it, and to get this project, continue to keep it moving is huge, and I just can't wait to see it to come to fruition.
Can we talk about the grant process and how this change will impact the grant?
We have to start all over again.
Okay,
I have talked to Kelly Glover in Columbus. She has given us an extension to February 28th. We have to assemble all the documentation again, the flood plan, the zoning. There's a question about whether this building meets the zoning in that parcel, so we would have to be talking to, once again, the affected township for that. But again, we have till the 28th of February to redo the grant.
that's not that long, Linda.
I'm aware.
So are we gonna have to engage Ravenwood again to help us get that together like they did the first time? I know you weren't part of that.
I know, I'll do it.
Okay. Well,
I've already done quite a bit of it in case this is what happens. So It'll just be a matter of wrapping it up. I already have a scheduled call with Kelly this afternoon to update her on whatever the choice the board makes, and then to make sure that I have everything together so we can get that process back on track.
And they'll have to come back up here to take a site visit, I assume?
I'm assuming, and then the question will still remain, will the prosecutor's office approve the mortgage that would be attached to that grant? Because that's what the document is called. It's a
Right.
20
Even though it's a
mortgage.
forgivable.
Yes.
But
It's forgiven automatically 1/240th every month for 20 years, provided we continue to provide the service.
which again is what the building is fully intended for.
I don't expect that we would ever not do
Right.
that. And we do not have a reporting requirement. It is supposed to be monitored by actually Geauga Mental Health.
Yeah, and the building, just like the current existing youth center, has got an OMAS approval certificate to establish what it is, and this building will far more exceed the current building as far as OMAS, meeting all OMAS rules, regulations, requirements.
And OMAS means what?
Ohio, sorry, I speak in acronyms. Ohio Mental Health and Addiction Services.
Got it.
Sorry.
Okay, so we can talk about that should the board decide to change the location. All the documentation for the grant has to be changed.
Whatever help I can be, please. You know to lean on me, so.
Well, you like a motion?
Yes,
that-
sir.
For that lot?
Yes, sir.
I'll make the motion for the building lot across the street from the library administration building.
Thank you so much.
I'll second.
Right?
Aye.
Yes.
Thank you guys so much for your support. I appreciate it.